Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. We are live, mercifully back on Tuesdays, so I can watch Monday Night Football. I will just say I hated Monday nights. I hated doing it on Monday nights. Like, it drove me insane. And yes, I know that the games on Monday night are not generally the most fascinating games, but still, it's just the principle.
Yeah, they suck.
So, they usually do. You're right. No, that's fair.
Usually I just tune in to watch the new Disney trailer that premieres.
Right, exactly.
I couldn't have all my rowdy friends over that night.
Yes, you could not. You could not. So we're here, of course, to talk about two series: a season finale of Ahsoka, and then a season premiere of Loki. So we will see how long this takes. I don't want it to take too long, but we'll try and stretch it out. Yeah, we need to be. We'll get out of here pretty quick here. We'll see what happens. But
10 minutes each.
Let's go. Yeah, 10 minutes. Let's go around the horn. Ryfin, your name's a little premature because we're not talking about Loki yet, but Ouroboros Ryfin, which that's tough to say. How's it going, buddy?
Maybe that displays my care level about the things that are happening on the show tonight.
Oh man,
the finale was fine. I'm interested in what happens in the future, but I was just kind of like, okay, that happened. That was fine. There were some cool moments.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Loki, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Quick shout out to Brian. He is Andrew is on the show this evening, so Brian is probably going to be the only one in the chat all by himself. I mean, look what you've done, Andrew. Look what you've done. Brian's by himself because you're not in the chat. This is really sad. That's okay.
Now we're back on Tuesday.
If everybody's in the show.
I know exactly.
You have to go back and watch this now.
Didn't you used to be a
nice of you. That's nice of you, Roth. Redius, I don't know the reference.
Morbius. Good Lord. Do we
Mobius.
Okay. Do you even MCU, bro?
Why are you guys putting Loki names this early?
I don't.
I know you don't. But
Ahsoka's gone. It's over. It's
over. Okay.
It's a blip that will never be thought of again.
Oh, stop! No, we're going to talk about.
We'll have no legacy, no lasting legacy. So why should we be all wrapped up in it?
Oh my gosh! All right, enough with Rhett. Roth, how's it going?
Didn't I pronounce it?
Garazeb Rothelios. Rothelios, probably more than likely. How's it going, buddy? I liked this week's episode on Me, Myself, and Irene of the Good Day for a Movie podcast. That was fun.
Thank you.
Great movie.
Yeah, I wish that's a movie I wish I would have seen earlier. I think I would have liked it even more. It was very funny though.
When that comedy hits, it really hits hard.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've realized that watching comedies by yourself changes how you view the comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're watching it with a group of friends, you're gonna laugh more because they're laughing.
Yeah,
and they're gonna laugh because you're
watching Barbie in a room full of people was next level experience. Yes. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, watching Barbie home alone on the couch eating Cheetos naked, not the same experience.
Yeah, it's probably not the same experience.
Well, it could be a very pleasurable experience.
Oh,
yes.
Right there.
Why are we okay? Roth, what was your experience with Farrelly Brothers movies before you saw Me, Myself, and Irene? Had you seen There's Something About Mary and Kingpin and all of that stuff?
No, I have not seen those. I mean, like I'm familiar with them. You know what I mean? Where like I haven't like seen them, but I kind of know about them more or less.
Because my favorite part of the episode was how shocked Sage was from all of the raunchiness. That was my favorite. Yes. That was my favorite part of the episode. And I'm like, it's a rated RP Farrelly Brothers movie. Like, of course, it's going to be super raunchy.
Look, he's in the grocery line. And he's like, golly, I mean that owns me.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
The mom scene, the milking scene was
shocking.
But
until you see the boys. Until you see The Boys, it's very shocking.
Yeah.
Yes, well, that is true. That is true.
On everything you've ever seen. It's like,
yeah, that's about where I stopped watching The Boys, I think.
I probably should have too. I'm too desensitized to anything and everything, so
it wasn't because of that. I just got like I don't know. It got almost too hyped. Where I'm like, everybody's saying this is the greatest thing to come to superheroes ever, and it's just not that. It's good, but it's just not that. It was one of those like overhyped things.
It's based on garbage material.
And for the first time ever,
the source is absolute trash. The show is much better than the source on the.
I agree with that. So for the first time ever, we've got Dr. Earl's son, Andrew, here. Long lost son on the show.
Dang, he didn't get the red hair.
No, he didn't. It's okay.
He won the gene lottery.
Andrew, you made an appearance on episode 600, I believe.
Yes.
And so this is technically your second appearance on a Deucecast thing.
Canonically, this is his first because this is releasing first.
First live.
Well, 600, because 600 wasn't live. Yeah, 600's not out yet. You're right. Yeah, it's coming tomorrow morning.
I might be Dr. Earl's age.
Preview. It's 4 hours and 10 minutes long. David did some fancy editing to get it over 4 hours because the recording was just under 4. And so he added some stuff to make it over 4 hours.
A lot of Casey's Kasem.
Probably a lot of Casey Kasem.
An 9 minute intro.
No, he did it. He did a David Lean-esque intermission, he said.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be interesting to have an intermission on that.
I tried to listen to an episode a while back. I ran out of time. Like I was going where I got where I was going, and before it ever started.
Right. That happens to me quite often.
The intro. Yeah.
Bit of advice. Yeah, if you're in a rush.
Yes, Brian,
like
look,
5 minminutes into it.
There's a thing you can do. You can fast forward.
Well, I didn't know. Like I was like, how long does this go? And then I was like, well, I finished buying groceries. I got to go home now.
That's hilarious.
I finished
Andrew, I do have to ask, since this is your first time, what would you say your level of Star Wars fandom is?
How much time do you have?
You smiled first, Bryson. Like I was watching you, and you started to bunch up.
Those are ridiculous.
We're what? Oh, okay.
You're ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I didn't do it.
Well, welcome to my first and last appearance on the
No, you're good. You're good. What would you say your level of Star Wars fandom is? Like, do you read everything or just watch everything? Or do you do both?
I watch everything. I don't read everything but I do watch everything. Yeah.
That's right,
okay. So have you watched?
I read the High Republic just so that Rhett can be happy.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You've watched all the animated series and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Even Resistance?
I haven't gotten to that yet. I'm in the middle of watching that actually. But
are you? I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's okay.
It does have a little background. There's an Ahsoka character in.
I knew that. Actually, that's what got me. Yeah. That's what got me to watch it. Was that?
Yeah, that's unfortunate that they're sticking that character in Ahsoka, and it might lead people to Resistance. That is not a great show.
Yeah.
What about on the Marvel side?
Who sees that character is like, I need more of this guy.
I need more of this guy. Well, he's not really technically. His dead body isn't.
There's not enough douchiness in my life.
What about Marvel? What's your Marvel fandom level? Have you watched all the MCU and all of that? All the shows, all the Disney Plus?
Yeah. I'm working on I've seen everything, every MCU title. I'm working on the Defenders saga right now. I didn't get that while it was on Netflix.
Stuff. Yeah. Hey, look, that stuff's good. It doesn't all hit, but it works for the most part.
I'm on Iron Fist season 1.
How old were you in 2008, Andrew?
Oh, God.
I was 3.
Oh, that just makes me want to jump out this window.
I knew that we were going to get something like that. I shouldn't have.
You shouldn't have asked.
I'm depressed now.
You knew that it was Earl's son, so I mean that tracks with his.
Earl's son can be in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
How old is your dad, Andrew?
He is 51.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. All right, Earl could be your dad then. And Rhett could be your dad. And
your dad.
Technically, I could probably be your dad.
Garrison couldn't. I couldn't.
No, yeah, you guys couldn't.
Now I'm going to be like, Mom, you got some questions.
See, look, Brian is right. This is going to be a good perspective.
I'm jaded. I'm a jaded old bastard.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's Earl.
So, good. Speaking of jaded,
Earl, we were just introducing your son, Andrew.
Oh, Andrew, hey. How are you, my son?
How's it going? Doing well, Father.
How are you, my father, son?
Yeah.
This is giving me the weird.
Earl made it weird.
Yeah.
Wait, is he not my son? I thought you said he was my son.
Yeah, but you wouldn't address your son, hello, my son. That's not how you would address your son.
I don't know. Well, you don't know how I address my sons.
Fair.
That's true. Your son's he's got his plural now.
Well,
yeah, from coast to coast.
The seed is scattered liberally throughout.
Okay.
I'm so happy that Andrew is 18.
I'm just 17. Kidding, Andrew. Andrew, don't do drugs.
What?
Don't scatter your seed.
I was actually on my 3 sons.
Probably so.
Oh God. So we're talking about. Oh, Earl, sorry. How are you doing?
Look at Balin's skull. Look at him right there, just standing.
Regal.
I wish I could say this was the weirdest intro I've ever seen, but it's not. Not a Deucecast.
This has become like a Deucecast intro. We're 12 minutes in. We haven't talked about anything yet. It's all intro.
Okay,
I'm ready to talk.
Michael just checked out completely.
I got a
text.
Look, Mikey's like, I want to get out of here quick, and then
I know. That's why I like doing the intros. I like to. Everybody gets their say. Night Brother of the Death Earl Mirror. Gosh, these
Death
names.
Earl Mirror. Yeah.
It's Death Earl Mirror.
What do we? The intro.
So we're talking about part 8 of Ahsoka, the Jedi. The Witch and the Warlord.
Oh yeah,
great title. Great
little
episode.
On the nose.
No,
little on the nose.
Great episode title. It made me right off the bat. I was like, "Hey, that's a solid little reference there." Yep. I dig it.
We get where we're going.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay,
we got a little
directed by Rick Famuyiwa.
Tolkien as well with the statues.
Yeah. You get the Lord of the Rings feel there at the end.
But there's so much more to that.
I know, but that part's done.
So dive in, whoever wants to dive in. I mean, Ryfin, I know before we got around the horn, you said your love of this episode was almost non-existent.
Whoa.
Am I overstating?
All I said was it was fine. This show feels kind of like a big old meh.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of cool stuff that happened in it.
No.
But overall, I'm just kind of like, that was nice. I'm ready. I am ready for Rebels season 6. After this, I'm super excited for that.
Are they having a Rebel season 6?
Well, but that's what Ahsoka season 2 is.
I see how you're playing it.
Hey, real quick, and I don't want to interrupt you. I want to address one thing and get it out of the way for all of you. Really.
Here we go.
Zeb did not make an appearance.
I conceded that.
Did you see the closing credits
in the back?
Yeah.
He was in the back at the end. I saw him. As my name says, I saw him in the back.
I don't want to belabor the point. But in fact, there was no Zeb. As predicted.
As you called it. Right. You called it.
Hang on.
I still think it's the dumbest thing to have done in that situation.
I didn't say it wouldn't be dumb. I just said he wouldn't be there. That's all. No,
I conceded that. So
on with the
show. All right. I'll jump in. So I liked the first scene with Ezra creating his lightsaber, though I don't know why he didn't get his lightsaber back from Sabine, but hey, I'm going to go with it. He created one sort of like Kanan had, and sort of like respect for his master. I like their conversation with Hu Yang. I did think I don't understand why they were traveling still with those creatures, because those creatures are in danger because of them. They should let those creatures go off on their own.
Yeah,
and
the Nori or whatever they are.
Yeah,
no hurry. Like there was no hurry. Like why are they
just
floating along at the pace that these turtles move? If they are urgently trying to stop Thrawn, right?
I didn't understand. I mean, it allowed for some conversation. I get that, but this was not my favorite episode. It seemed everything kind of happened to sort of close out the series and to prepare for the next event, which was to get Thrawn to the galaxy,
which is a cool threat to introduce.
It is, but it just, I don't know, like I would have liked for our heroes to be in a little more peril, like when they were below Thrawn's
totally
ship.
Agree.
Like, why not just have one of those animals flip because it got shot? And I don't know, I just felt like they needed to have more. It's just like we're just moving along to get Thrawn out of there. I don't know. It just
there was a lack of. I felt like there was no real tension, and then really all throughout the series there was very little tension, and especially in the finale. And even among the characters though, there was not an urgency. You mentioned them kind of slowly plodding along with the turtle people, right, moving at their pace when there is this threat looming that they need to stop. If the characters are not interested in it enough to feel urgency, as an audience I don't feel a great deal of urgency either, and I didn't get that, and I didn't get any peril. I never felt like they were in real danger. Even jumping ahead to when the stormtroopers all come back,
the zombie stormtroopers.
They dispatched them easily. They come back. They continue to dispatch them fairly easily. Like it didn't change the nature of anything that they came back from the dead. It still just was just more things to deflect and stab again. It didn't change nobody died. No good character died because of them. Really, no real peril there. So I don't know. Kind of. I didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I'm glad that we did get that because we had been talking about that the whole season, that we were going to get undead stormtroopers. So I'm glad they finally paid that off a little bit. It was a bit of an homage to what was it, Death Troopers or whatever, the book with the zombies. And then we had seen in Rebels,
Sisters, right? Yeah.
Or Clone Wars, one of the animated series, the
Clone Wars, I think.
Yeah, there was some undead stuff going on in that too. So I mean, there was precedence there.
Was there undead stuff happening in Rebels when they're on Dathomir, Ezra, Sabine, and Maul?
Possibly.
Oh yeah, the undead Night Sisters. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, there was. No, there was. Because I just saw that.
And maybe not undead, but reanimated type of deal.
Reanimated. Yeah. I mean, which is basically what these were.
Well, and they were controlling.
So to me, and this is where I'll start to move a little bit away from probably where you guys are on the show. I was always a Star Wars purist in a sense, I didn't embrace really the legend, the EU, the expanded universe. I didn't really like much of that stuff. I would occasionally read it, but I was not a completist that felt like that was part of the canon. I really was a purist. George Lucas's vision for this is kind of where I was, and even through the Clone Wars, when I know George, greenlit some of that, but he'd always felt disinterested in it. Like, you go do what you want because it's merchandise and it makes me money, but from an editorial standpoint, I didn't think Lucas really cared. So we started getting some of this cartoonier, more fantasy scale, magic-y stuff out of the Clone Wars and then Rebels. Well, I never was into that much. And so this undead stuff, the witches, the conjuring the sword, the flaming magic sword out of thin air, the sword of Talzin.
The sword of Talzin, sir.
Yeah, I know. That was a guy or a lady.
You're right.
To me, that doesn't feel like George Lucas's vision for Star Wars. It doesn't feel like what Star Wars was. So if you take some of those elements and you put them in A New Hope next to a Han Solo or an old Obi-Wan or a young farm boy Luke, or have Vader and Tarkin interacting with some of this stuff, it doesn't fit to me. it doesn't feel like it's right. It doesn't feel like George Lucas's vision. He wasn't about that. He was about the hero journey kind of stuff, the lived in, certainly fantasy. It was not science fiction. It wasn't hard sci-fi. It was more fantasy, but the Force was left kind of nebulous and everybody, it really was part of all things, and you could just kind of use it as a tool. And so I do not connect in any way with any of the stuff from Ahsoka that kind of remarks.
Old man yells at the cloud.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, that was never my vision for Star Wars. It never felt like it was Lucas's. And
I'm with you.
To be fair, they were around in the Clone Wars animated series, which was Lucas's.
What's that?
They were around in the Clone Wars animated series, which was Lucas.
I said that he greenlit.
He did.
He was not actively involved.
He didn't just
writing. He
was actively involved in coming up with the ideas behind it. He wasn't writing it, but he would say, "Dave, we're going to do this. Anakin's got a Padawan."
This was not his vision for Star Wars.
He wanted the will.
This wasn't his original vision, but I think that morphed with the prequels. The prequels don't fit with the original trilogy on that type of scale.
There's nothing about this sort of magicy, witchy stuff in the prequels. He didn't change so far from his vision that people were conjuring swords up out of thin air. There was undead, that there were any sort of this, the father and son, this Mortis business. That was not from Lucas. Okay. That was from
it was under his. I mean, it kind of was though.
I said that. I acknowledge that, but Lucas was not editorially involved to the same extent. None of that felt like Star Wars to me, and I don't think Lucas, if he had continued in a live action variety, I don't think a lot of that would have carried on into what his plan was.
Maybe not. I mean, that's pure speculation, obviously.
But in that context, I don't feel a connection to some of this magic-y or the undead.
It's not for you.
That's not the Star Wars that I kind of spent 40 years of headcanon on, right?
No.
Yeah. I think Filoni is very influenced by. He's way more influenced by Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, the fantasy stuff than Lucas ever was. Lucas was very
anime,
Asian,
Eastern myth,
not
like Western myth.
Joseph Campbell.
I think I can see where it's semi-jarring to have that kind of Eastern and Western myth like almost clashing. I enjoy it.
I thought it was
never
good. Tell us.
I've never read an Legends EU book. When Disney first took over, I read like maybe 5 of the, and by read I mean listened to, because reading sucks and I'm not a nerd. So I read maybe 5 pages of Kenobi by John Jackson Miller. That's the furthest I've read into like any of the Legend stuff. So I'm not attached to any of that stuff whatsoever. And those books that I did read stunk for the most part. That Kanan book that was one of the first ones was all right. But and that Catalyst was an all right book as well. The Rogue One prequel.
The Rogue One book.
So I see your point, and like I get that. If it doesn't jive with somebody, it doesn't jive with you. I like it. I think it is I like the fantasy storytelling, and I'm fine with that type of stuff in Star Wars.
Well, it's always been more that way anyways. It's never been like straight up sci-fi.
No,
I mean, that's not what he's arguing.
It's different. Yeah, this kind of stuff is different. The undead aspect of it. The you try to place some of this in an original trilogy, and it doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't.
And that's where that's my source on all of this. That's what I grew up with. That's all I had for most of my life. So it's just a different take on it for sure.
The quick retcon of that I had in my head when you were saying it, because I was retcon. Like, I mean, you're very right that Vader interacting with a Mother Townsend. I'm sure he's done it in the comics. But that all sticks.
Like the comics either, because they get
right.
They get too far off away from that core of Star Wars.
I would say my answer to that would be like Vader and Palpatine and Tarkin were so powerful that they stamped that stuff down, and because they're gone, this type of stuff is reemerging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where how many?
Yeah,
It's
that's
ABY.
retcon.
Yeah, that's one way to. Yeah,
Yeah.
After the Battle of Yavin. See, after the battle.
I don't have to be twisted into it through.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fine. I mean, however they get it is what it is. But I'm just and I think there are people in the audience that are like me who grew up with the same Star Wars that I did.
There is nobody like you.
Probably not exactly. But that era that it probably doesn't connect with as well. It seems like it seems more. It's a more of a cartoony. And this time I don't mean it at a negative necessarily. It's a cartoonier plotting and story structure and elements that don't, to me, suit what I always thought of as Star Wars. And if Star Wars wants to move into that and become that, well, that's fine. But it might leave me and it may leave some other people behind when it does. So for that reason, everything about Ahsoka has been kind of under a cloud for me because I don't connect as well to it.
Was it under a Bendu cloud?
See, that's another.
He was a big cloud and
the one in
Rebels.
the middle.
I just saw that episode.
I am the one in the middle.
I am the Bendu.
I don't think Filoni is the one to save Star Wars. I mean, there was talk that he was going to save it, and not even talking about what the viewing numbers are or anything like that. I don't think that. I think it's somehow it's made less complex in its complexity, and that seems stupid, but
no, I'm tracking.
I was going to say something like that too. George was very good at telling this broad story on a small scale.
Yeah,
they're still trying to tell this kind of broad mythology, and they're still trying to do a small scale, but they haven't done a great job of like scaling it down like he was able to. Okay. They just made it more confusing.
I need to hear from the younger generation.
Yes.
I need to hear what Andrew thinks about this. Or has he already talked?
I like.
This is your chance, man.
I like the overall storytelling. Huh?
I'm just kidding. Everybody was interrupting you. Keep going.
That's all right. I liked the overall story of Ahsoka. I think that pacing was an issue. I thought that that there were a lot of slow moments, but I liked the I think it's up there with as far as Filoni goes with storytelling. I still think there's stuff in Clone Wars that's better, but yeah, that's
I liked Clone Wars more than Ahsoka. I really did.
Did you watch all of Clone Wars, Rhett?
No, not all of it. I've watched most of it. I didn't watch. I haven't watched every episode, but I watched. I would skip a few and then I'd go back, or I would go watch a couple of hospital.
Well, they were all out of order too, because
not all out of order. But I've watched
beginning. And do you know whose fault that was? That was George's fault, because he was involved. He was like, "Let's tell this story now. Let's go back and tell this story." And
I watched it in broadcast
order,
what are you doing? Roughly, so which I followed okay. I don't know. Pacing was a problem, and the characterization I thought was weak. If you compare again to the Old Testament, I saw OT in my head.
Characterization is a little
so those characters went on a journey. Han and Luke were definite. Those were definite character arcs. You think of Sabine. Did she? So she makes this massive decision to really put the galaxy at jeopardy, right? To go and rescue what's his name? Aladdin. What's his name?
Ezra Bridger.
And so Ezra made that choice. First of all, he put himself there to stop Thrawn, right? He loses agency by her doing that. She risks the galaxy on it, and there's really no comeuppance for her on that. They don't address it. Ahsoka throws it all away with one line, about how, you did what I don't remember the language now, but it was something there was no real stern talking to even. There was not even a sternly worded letter about it. There was no downside to her doing what she did.
It was a mistake for Ezra to just be like, all right, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Well, and some of that got annoying to me.
Take another 5 minutes.
like
Take
she
another
is
5
so
minutes and
apprentice,
just do it.
you know, and
It's
and
complicated.
there was no lesson to be learned there. You know, she stranded the two of them there. She undid Ezra's sacrifice. She's put the galaxy at jeopardy, and nobody seemed to care. So she didn't feel any guilt. She didn't express any guilt feelings over it. So
well, here we are. We're stuck in the
there was
galaxy.
no real character growth with Ahsoka.
Well,
She decided, I guess, that she wanted to not die but live. Well, that's not growth, you know. So I was disappointed in all that. In the characterization in the show, it just none of this really. It just made it feel. It made the pacing feel worse because I couldn't even see character development. Not only was the plot slowly moving, but the characters were static throughout.
I mean, if you think about that stuff, it makes it worse. But if you don't, well, eat the slop like the pig that I am.
About the show, well, of course, it's not very good.
If I just saddle up to this slop bin and eat,
that was
it's very enjoyable.
I think that was my issue. I was thinking too much about Andor, and everyone else was just eating the slop.
Well, so I think I didn't really understand that ending. Like I didn't like that. Like he's riding on the back, Ezra's riding on the back, and Sabine's, you know.
All right. Really? You're gonna do that? You're gonna do that?
Look,
It's
a little bit. They didn't push it down. They didn't shove it down your throat.
But it's all there. It's all there all the time.
It is there. It's there.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
They're talking about the fact that Ezra wasn't riding.
He should have been riding.
Wasn't like on the back.
He should have been hugging. He was just hugging the. Yeah,
I didn't notice that at all.
Right, because you guys have been trained by society that's the way things are supposed to be.
No, it's true. I was like, why is the guy just like hanging on the back?
Go.
Like, oh, it's just.
Why is she riding when she should be? Who's cooking? How do they eat?
Oh wow. Well, okay, he went a little far with that, but
you started it, or Earl, you started it.
That's my fault.
Okay, started it.
Here's the thing. I shouldn't even give this credence, but Sabine is better with guns, so she should
better.
She shouldn't be driving. You may be right on that. You know, she should be on the back shooting, and Ezra should be driving.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's only force pushing or whatever. No, I think my problem is I've been watching this show and also watching Rebels, and Rebels is so much better paced. There's more tension. There's more energy, and it's just really hard. I mean, it's like I'll watch Ahsoka, and then I go watch that, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is all logical. This makes sense. This mission they're on, there's tension. They're you know, it's just I don't know. It just it didn't.
Now there is a lot to be said though with animation. You're kind of unbridled. Okay. You can do whatever you want to.
That's why I don't think necessarily animation. Well, where your source material is animation, it doesn't always translate to live action in the same way.
Well, that's true.
Like a Scooby movie,
and I'm not.
When Ahsoka went to Smile, you know.
Yeah, but Sarah Michelle Gellar and the other one that played Velma made that movie worth it.
Yeah,
right.
No, here's my hot take after watching. So every good episode of Rebels that I was watching was not written by Filoni. It was written by Henry Gilroy and Matt Melching or something.
Not related, by the way. He's not an actual.
No, he's not a Gilroy. He's not Tony Gilroy's.
So don't in the lineage of the Gilroys.
Different.
Yeah.
Don't get nervous.
We're sure because I'm somehow Earl's son.
So here's my theory. I think Filoni's a better visionary, like creating the world, than he is like unpacking a story.
So he's like Lucas.
I was going to say that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to like down him. I think he's created some great perspectives, and I think he can create long story arcs, but let somebody else sort of drive the story. That's my thought on the
I had some questions about him when he put the 13-year-old girl that he created in that outfit. Right. I was like, yeah, that's what's going on here. But nobody thinks that's weird.
I
I'm
didn't.
the only one that thinks that's weird.
Maybe that's a bad thing, Rhett.
Okay. Nobody else noticed.
Should we,
No
Well,
comment.
see,
should we
if you read
report
the
'em?
young adult novel about their culture, I'm just kidding.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So let's move into the realm of a character that I'm not burying the lead that I think a lot of us liked was Balin's. I've got him right there in
rest
the
in
middle, anchoring us. He wasn't in the episode enough. First of all, I was upset about that. But
Or
you
Shin
did get-
Hati.
or Shin, yeah, they kind of obviously
Hati.
there's plans for more with these
Hati,
characters.
or however you say
Wait,
it.
so
But-
Skull and Hati, aren't they? They're the names of are those the Norse wolves? They're the son, like
Something
the son
like
and
that.
daughter of Fenrir, maybe. One chases the moon and one chases the sun, so they're always kind of chasing one another. I mean, that's
poetic,
okay.
right?
That's pretty interesting stuff.
You want the Wikipedia thing?
We didn't get but I think that's right.
I think, yeah.
That's cool. That's a nice little thing that you can.
That's
kind
cool.
of, you think of them in that context, and that's kind of a
Mhm.
cool thing. And I want more. Their relationship was the most interesting dynamic on the show.
Mhm.
Balin was absolutely the best character on the show,
Yes,
elevated by Ray Stevenson. Rest in power. I don't know where we go from here.
And to be fair with that, like you just said, I mean, on paper, maybe the character wasn't like super interesting, but his performance made you interested in that character.
His dialogue was as pedestrian as everybody else's, but the guy delivers his lines though.
Yeah. I mean, he goes for it in that manner, and it makes it tough to recast in that case because you're more drawn. You're more drawn to the actor and the actor's performance of the character.
The picture that we have on screen here, just our background of him standing out on the finger here of the father. Dude is charismatic. He's just standing there, and the guy's got so much gravitas. I don't know how the statue doesn't collapse under the weight of it. Like he just carried every scene he was in. His combat, his choreography was good.
I heard it.
Overall, I think the fight choreography was pretty
good.
This
episode was good.
Yeah, I think Morgan Elsbeth. What's her name?
She's a martial artist, right?
Yeah. So she looked really good.
Dr. Earl, she's Bruce Lee's goddaughter. Don't you know?
We should get hashtag Rat for Balin trending on X.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's with Balin. I'll get that on Twitter.
I did and I'm glad I went back and watched it a second time because I didn't notice this the first time, but there was a temple or something that he was looking at.
Well, it was the same thing that Anakin saw in the Clone Wars when he kind of looked out, right? Like, that's what it reminded me. It's the same. It's almost the exact same shot composition that he ended up in that temple or whatever too.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
That was a glowing thing up at the top of that. That seemed to be the same type thing that we were looking at here. So that's
the
obviously
source of the Force.
Yeah, or something,
or whatever.
Are we going to get into what's that character, Abeloth or somebody? The
Abeloth creature. They keep saying.
I hope everyone on the internet is wrong about that because
I do too.
Lord, they're all in on it.
Wait, what is this Abeloth thing?
Yeah.
Some kind of evil force. I don't know.
It was that didn't come from Clone Wars, did it? That came from
no, that was like EU or something.
Yeah, that's Legend stuff. But it's it's starting to line up and
oh, Brian, I'd forgotten about that, but that was pretty cool. The cinematic brilliance of the rings circling Dathomir.
That was pretty cool.
When they fly into Dathomir. Yeah, that was a really cool moment.
Wait, Peridia or Dathomir?
Dathomir at the end there.
Oh, that's
Oh, when they got on the other side of
the end of the episode, towards the end of the episode.
So look, Thrawn is going to be look. I'm still underwhelmed by the character. I think he's hurt by how incompetent they have made the New Republic. So he's going to come in and have a maybe a series of victories against idiots. Right. So that does not elevate him as a powerful character because he's destroying idiots, right?
Well,
they're in
yeah.
a bind with him really to really show his his capabilities.
I mean, I think that he'll be the catalyst for what the Resistance has to become. They have to become
He'll be the
different.
spark that starts.
Well, they have to be different than the bureaucracy of the New Republic. They have and so they have to be more militant, which is sort of where Andor himself comes from.
Have
his
to play
militant
that
background.
Listen, the word Star Wars was broken a little bit by the Force Awakens.
I know they've got to be careful, but I mean, it is what it is.
You've got the New Republic governing. You've got the First Order that seems to be a minor nuisance. Like, what are they doing? And then you've got who is the Resistance, or who are they resisting? Like, obviously it's the First Order, but that's not what you call
the stupidest name ever.
It is.
And they've got to. They need somebody really competent who's going to have to retcon some of that and back into it in a way that redeems it. And
does that person exist?
We're going to get there. Yeah.
Well, I
is
think
that possible?
I think Filoni can figure. I think Filoni and Favreau can figure it out from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah,
but they need some writers that can help them in that.
They need a DK book to flesh.
They need a Waldron. In all honesty, like we'll get to Loki in a minute, but they need a guy like Waldron who can figure this stuff out.
I can't wait to see live action Kazuda Xiono from Star Wars Resistance.
I like how you had to search for his name.
Hey, Kazuda.
Kazuda Hirano.
I still can't get over the fire alarm thing Xiono pulled. I mean, that's just crazy.
Look, yeah, that was not a great payoff. Hera Syndulla felt kind of tacked on. Like, she didn't really impact any of the events very much. There was just this ancillary noise going on to justify her being there. They made a drama out of her breaking the rules when it shouldn't have been a situation where she had to break the rules anyway. Then there was ultimately no real consequence of it. They shoehorn a Leo reference in there to clean that up. That all felt very tacked on. It's like anybody read Ender's Game?
Yes,
I have. Yeah. I've read just the first one.
That started as a novella. And when he expanded it to full-length novel, he added a bunch of crap with the brother and the sister and all this other stuff going on at home. And that's what it feels tacked on a little bit when you read it. And Orson Scott Card, he's an amazing writer. I mean, Ender's Game.
Andrew, read Ender's Game. Ender's Game's good.
Speaker of the Dead's a
that's no. It got too weird after that. But
did you read any of those, Andrew?
Ender's Game, but some of his other stuff's good too. I mean, he's a good writer. But that Hera stuff felt tacked on to me also, where it really didn't contribute very much.
Didn't help.
She rescued Ahsoka. There were these little moments here or there, but most of that ended up being for naught.
You know what it was almost like?
Yeah.
It was almost like Reva in Obi-Wan, like a tacked on character in a story that didn't deserve to be. She didn't deserve to be there.
She drove the plot, though. I mean, Reva was a terrible character, but she was driving the plot. I mean, the whole show ended up being about her more than it was Obi-Wan.
All right, what's your conspiracy theory, Roth?
All right, so is it possible that Hera was supposed to play some sort of role in a Gina Carano-led series? And things went different after they got rid of Gina, had to scrap that show. Season 2, everything after season 2 of Mandalorian, things seem to be
Rangers of the New Republic.
It's certainly why Kim's Convenience is in every show now.
Yes, and like that type of thing. So maybe we were supposed to have more backstory on the Republic and some of these threats that are out there, and that some of that would make more sense. Season 3 of Mandalorian wouldn't have been so disjointed and weird, and storylines seem to be kind of shoved into those and that type of thing. So could Hera have been
it's certainly possible
large role
story
in the
elements that they had in their mind and were planning for Rangers, that they have tried to integrate some of that in other places. Michael called it Kim's Conveniences, or he was going to be a part of that. I think Zeb would have fit well into that the Rangers show.
Well, he was sitting with
shit didn't show up in but
Andrew, jump in. I mean, what were your thoughts overall of the season, since you haven't really been with us for the whole season?
Yeah, kind of like what you guys were saying. I had semi high expectations going into it, and kind of disappointed.
Like were you a
Overall.
huge fan of Clone Wars and Rebels going into Ahsoka?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's-
And because I know it was tough. They had to make it a little bit for people who hadn't seen it, so I get that, but a lot of stuff felt not character based, like out of character, and
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sabine
Just
was a little too.
kind of kind of just like.
Rough character.
And I think I also think I had too high of expectations that maybe it kind of unrealistic maybe, but one thing I was thinking of is with Balin is once Ray died, I wonder if they made any changes or did any editing with his character, because I mean he was
Ray
barely
Stevenson.
in, or sorry,
Mhm.
Ray Stevenson. He was
I was thinking
barely
Ray, I
in
was
this
thinking Ray
episode.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Skywalker.
no, Ray
Skywalker.
Stevenson. Sorry,
Yeah.
my
How
bad.
dare you?
No, you're
No,
good.
that makes sense. I
Continue.
mean,
Yeah.
I
he
don't
did.
think
He did
had a lot
shoot
of-
all of his stuff before. I mean, he passed away well after the show had been
Yeah, it was all in
completed.
the can.
Mhm.
He was it was all done, but
No reshoots,
and
though.
look, that's a great ending scene here we've got with him looking off into the distance at that thing. That's very clearly they have more.
But to Andrew's point, they certainly could have re-edited to make the character smaller because they know they can't do much
Yeah.
with him now that Ray's passed away.
Because it
Oh,
just
that's-
felt like there was
They
all
didn't-
this
I didn't
lead
feel
up,
like we
and then he
missed
just
anything from the Balin Skull story. I don't.
Unless
No,
it's
I
the
feel like
last
This last
episode.
episode,
I feel
maybe
like they
I felt
purposely set up a story arc there for the
Mhm.
future.
Yeah. I don't think they cut maybe they did, but I don't. I didn't get the sense that there was any gaping holes in that story. I mean, it obviously didn't resolve.
Yeah, but I don't think they
You know,
planned
at the beginning, right? They didn't. But at the beginning of the series, you think, well, where's this going? I expected it to tie that up, but then about halfway through, you realize they're probably not, and they didn't. And I think that puts them in a bad spot.
Andrew, that was a good point, though.
Yeah, it just
yeah,
puts them in a bad
that was
spot
one thing I
because
was thinking of.
Just
feel like-
recast it and don't change anything.
Oh.
I feel like they're going to recast.
according to X, which I don't. I mean, X is obviously the bastion of truth.
Well, you know what they
the
say
plot-
about
Wait.
X going to give it to you.
Wait.
X going to
It's
give
going
it
to
to
give it
you.
to you.
cannot- X cannot report anything, so
That's
you
right.
have to credit
That's right.
something on X.
So I mean, let's wrap up Ahsoka. Overall, I mean, I'll just like my final thoughts on the series is there were some high moments that I enjoyed. I liked aspects of the series. I thought the characterization. Obviously, we're all raving about Balin Skull. Shin was an interesting
I thought
character.
Shin was good. Yeah.
I think that she was an interesting character.
Red slide.
No, but you think
What
she's
Shin?
you think she's attractive. You don't think that the character's very much. Let's
That's not
let's
true.
tell it
I
like
think
it
she's
is.
intriguing. I think she's
She
intriguing
didn't
character.
do anything.
Well,
I don't know.
but there was potential.
She lit her-
Interesting character. I don't.
She
She
lit her
did look
lightsaber
menacing.
up like Darth Maul did in Solo at the end.
What'd you
Didn't
say?
she?
Yeah.
Remember at the end of Solo, Darth Maul
Remember.
just lights his saber for no
Yeah,
reason?
yeah.
She kind of does that at the end here,
He
too.
does the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, exactly. I am getting tired of these series acting as if they're not completing without previously announcing. Like the streaming platform is the perfect medium to go ahead and say we've got a season 2 coming. No, it's coming.
Yes.
And this is why the show is ending in this way. I mean, and they're not doing that with Star Wars.
But you know what did? Loki season 1. All right, guys.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Loki season 1.
I think you're
does
here to
anybody
talk
else
about
want to
Loki.
say any final thoughts before we move to Loki?
Nah, let's never think about it.
I will leave it on a positive note. I think Ahsoka was good slop. And that's what I'm looking for with my Star Wars nowadays. And
Okay.
Tasty
it
slop.
delivered.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Okay.
anything. Look, yeah, and I have said a lot of ugly things about Ahsoka. It's better than Book of Boba Fett. Okay,
Yes, it is. It's better
Yes.
than Kenobi.
It is.
Everything is.
I give it that.
I think it's better than Mando season 3 as well.
Yeah,
I agree with all that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's just below
I
Mando
wanted it
1
to
and
be
2 for
better.
me.
Like I did. I do nitpick it. 'cause
Just
that's what
below-
I do with Star Wars.
That's right, Brian. What we were left with is four
that's kinda
Force
fun.
users trapped on a play hilarity ensues.
That's kind of fun.
Hey, I'd
good
watch that
sitcom.
sitcom.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's I guess. Andrew, did you have any final thoughts on Ahsoka before we move on?
Not really. I
Not really.
6.5
All
out
right.
of 10.
Blasé with
Yeah.
it.
I
Well,
like
that's
it.
pretty
I like
high. 6.5 out of 10 is pretty
Oh,
high.
I'm
Okay,
higher than
that's
that.
good.
You think
Oh my
that's
God.
high? Wait,
That's
what?
way low.
Six
What
and
are
a
you
half
rating
out of
it,
10's
Mikey?
high. I'd
What
rate it
do
as
you
maybe
rate
like
it?
Uh-oh.
like a
What'd I do?
5.5.
You would
Jeez.
Like
give it
6.5 out of 10's high.
What?
Boba Fett.
Wait, Michael
If
put
Boba
it at
Fett is a
5.5?
2 out of 10, if Boba
Okay.
Fett's a 2 out of 10,
Wait a
Andrew's
minute. Wait a minute.
left.
Those two
Boba Fett's not-
episodes of
if Boba
Mando
Fett's a
in
2
Boba
out
Fett
of
alone
10,
are great.
Yeah, they lift it.
This is like
Okay,
a
if Boba Fett's a
7.5
2
to
and
an
a
8
half,
in my
I'm
book.
like
Oh,
Anakin. What have
stop
I
it.
done?
It is.
Okay, Andor's
Mikey, you rated
here's the
thing,
Falcon and the
Taylor.
Winter Soldier a 10 out of 10 when we watched it.
Andor's a 10 out of 10. Then you've got
Yes,
like Mando
we
season
convinced
1 and
them.
2, 9 out of 10.
Garrison, we
then
just
you've
got to ride this wave. He'll be
season-
back to hating Andor next week.
No, I still like
I
Andor.
think
I never
y'all
said
understand the greatness.
Andor's
very
a 10
different.
out
I
of 10.
acknowledge. I love
But it's
Andor.
not
Prison
Star Wars.
episodes
It's
are
not.
great.
I get that.
Andor
to me,
Andor
it's
is
a
10 out of 10,
of
but it's
10.
not Star Wars. It's
Yes,
not Star
thank
Wars.
you.
And Ahsoka doesn't
It's
feel like
a good
Star
like
Wars.
Netflix show.
That's okay.
Well,
Okay.
Ahsoka feels more Star
HBO
Wars-y than
Or
it feels like,
HBO, yeah.
it feels like a good series. Okay, fine. Let's move on to
I
Loki
did
then.
not mean to do
Oh,
that
look
with
at
my
this.
rating.
Oh, we
What
got
happened?
we
Where'd it
briefly
go?
had a new background. There
Oh,
we
did
go.
it
Oh,
blip?
Guys,
There it
it's
is.
flipping.
there it is.
Well,
We got it.
oddly cropped, but okay.
Oh, I have no talent in that way, so I just am throwing a random background up for Loki.
We're back in the
season
TVA.
2, episode 1, Ouroboros. Fantastic episode title.
Oh,
Obviously, we
man.
find out. Directed by Moorhead and Benson.
Obi.
Which they were. Did they direct every episode last season, Garrison?
No.
Or
So Kate
just the
Herron
first-
directed season 1, and you could tell there's a difference
Yeah.
in the direction, in the colors. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's very
Oh, yeah.
apparent, but also
Speed.
at the same time, the writing is consistent. So that all felt really good.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a. It looked
Waldron was
different.
the sole writer credited on
They
this.
put some fake
or-
grain on this though, for sure. You could see it.
Right. Yeah, there was some.
What, was
I'm
it
going to let
Waldron who
Garrison
wrote
sort of run this one. He's the
Um,
Loki guy.
No. Waldron was not he was just
Oh,
created
No,
for
he's
television.
just
so-
EP.
He's showrunner,
Waldron
right?
Waldron is credited for creating the show. So Waldron wrote season 1.
Yeah.
He wrote
Okay,
season
he-
1.
I
and
knew
then
he
was
wrote
asked,
something. Yeah.
He was asked to write Multiverse of Madness. He goes off of season 1, writes Multiverse of Madness. Now, while he's writing Multiverse of Madness, season 1 is being shot. He's not on set. He wrote and had a writer's room help write, the entirety of season 1, but kind of came up with the plot. Eric Martin was the head writer basically on set for season 1, oversaw production, became the head writer officially for season 2, and is now
Okay.
the guy leading the charge there. So
Leading the writer's room, basically,
And,
because there's
yeah, they
always
were
a
both-
writer's room.
they were
Yeah.
both Rick and Morty guys that came out together to write
Okay.
Loki season 1. So
Rick and Morty. This,
Always
this episode felt kind of like a Rick and Morty vibe to it, just with the craziness of everything that was going on.
It was fun.
And
it was a fun.
it's
episode.
zany, but it's serious enough that I enjoy it.
Yeah.
more than
Right.
Some of the Rick
There
and
was
Morty.
tension
Right,
to it.
right.
There was
Yeah.
weight to it.
So Garrison, for the viewer and maybe the listener, because I know some people will randomly listen to YouTube also. Where did we leave off in season 1 to get us to this season 2 point?
So I mean, what do you?
In general,
That's a long
in general.
conversation.
No, it's not. Just
The end of season
tell us-
1. The end of season 1.
Give us a
Loki and
full
Sylvie.
recap of the MCU to this.
No. I just want a quick.
Who is Iron
At
Man
the,
really?
at the end of season 1, Loki and Sylvie meet the man at the end of time.
Yes.
They kill him. Sylvie makes the decision to kill him, while Loki makes the decision that they shouldn't.
And he says,
because
"See you real
man-
soon."
The man gives them an ultimatum, which is, if you kill me, there's just going to be a million more of me, and those guys are just
Yeah.
going to run you guys over eventually in a multiversal war and destroy everything that you love. If you just take over the TVA, things will be fine, and it'll just be this nice little sacred timeline that you just have to take care of and make sure nothing branches off from, to basically prevent more of him from happening, I think is the implication we get. Now he gets back to the TVA. He sees the Kang statue, and the season opens basically from there, running away from a Mobius and a Hunter B-15 who don't know him, which is just a really interesting way to end a season and begin a season.
Yes.
Because the fan theories coming into this were that he went into a different branch to TVA, or the TVA has somehow changed in the past. The past has been affected, so now they don't know Loki in the TVA. Well, no, that's not what happened.
Was there
and maybe this is a retcon? I don't know. Maybe they didn't have this plan the whole time, but time slipping is introduced.
I was going to say, was there any foreshadowing to this light speed skipping at all?
No.
Oh no. Sorry,
because it doesn't happen. It's not allowed. It doesn't usually happen in the TVA.
Well, and it gets resolved in this episode too. So it just a device to.
It was just a quick. To have him go from timeline to timeline, basically.
Yeah.
Brett, I'm pretty convinced it's not over.
You don't think so? Okay. Yeah, maybe
because there's a lot of shots in the trailer of him like freaking out,
popping into where the
flippy arms.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, quantum leap.
So
there's more time slipping to come.
I don't know
that
why
makes me feel better, because I felt like it was resolved, and or we're meant to think it's resolved at the end, and now I don't understand what it was for in the first place, right? It didn't really achieve anything. The whole show was about solving that. And so that's just a standalone.
The whole show wasn't about solving that, really. I mean, what the whole show was about was really setting up the season. So you've got
in a broad sense, yeah, but it's a closed. If it starts with the time slipping, and that's a closed loop. They seem to resolve it, and that doesn't in and of itself propel the plot forward. So
but I thought that
then fine.
Look, there are a lot of people who complain that the MCU episodes and shows aren't episodic enough, and so in a sense, maybe those people got what they wanted, but.
It seems like it's resolved now.
I thought it was an interesting narrative device that they ditched really fast, but at the same time, when looking through materials and trailers, I was like, man, maybe this thing's going to come back somehow. And maybe he gets kicked through another time door. I don't know what's going to happen to him, but somehow that's going to come back.
Their focus now is to find Sylvie, right?
Right.
Yes. And she's got
and the TVA, they want to find her because
she's got Loki.
Got all those troops going through that time door.
Yeah, she's got Kang's time pad, which clearly has more power than some of the other time pads out there.
Okay, I forgot about that. She took that from the He Who Remains, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Last Man Standing, as they.
He Who Remains.
Tim Allen. Tim Allen, the Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
I like the way they set that up. Where I didn't even really think about this, but while I'm watching the episode, I mean, Loki only refers to him as He Who Remains because Loki doesn't know Kang.
He doesn't know Kang.
We know the audience know of Kang at this point
because Quantum Mania.
But I thought this episode just did a brilliant job of kind of just selling the fear that you should have for what Kang presents to this multiverse.
I wish the characters in Ahsoka were like that with Thrawn.
Well, we got the fear from Loki only, really, right? Because he's really the only one who knows and understands.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to impart that to the others.
Yeah, and
that's
part of what it's one of my little minor gripes about it is the Loki characterization, where he is missing the swagger that Loki had in kind of this timeline's version of Loki. And I know we showed him video of
but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we showed him view, and so we get they cram all the plot development of Loki, all the character development into a scene last season to get him to the Loki that we know. But I don't find him to be as he seems more frantic and not weak, but
well, he's terrified of He Who Remains.
But would that Loki be right? He is a god. He's a god.
I think
right?
So.
And really thought a lot of himself.
Well, he had Lady Sif slap him.
Yeah, but he also just got his ass kicked.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you watch, so I rewatched all of season 1. First off, it's not just the showing the videos. You watch for several episodes as it goes on. I mean, he's still trying to trick the TVA people, and he's still trying to get one over on them. And it's not like he's slowly kind of coming to that character.
We got some of that development. I don't know.
But when
you
he
like
comes,
the old Loki.
when he comes-
I prefer the old villainous Loki to the.
I get it. When he comes face to face with Kang, though, like he can't touch the guy. I mean, that's at the end of time. Like Kang's just zipping all over the place. They'll swing at him, and he's like, "Nope, I already know what's going to happen here. You can't do anything." And I think that kind of causes
what Brian said. He's kind of a broken man trapped in the TVA trying to escape or survive.
He wouldn't admit. I don't know. That's not the version of Loki that I prefer. That's all. I like the bad. I like the evil Loki. The foil.
Well, he's the everyman now. He's the guy that you're.
He's
the
kind of the
journey
player.
with.
He's the player character now, and and I think it's diluted him a little bit. It's kind of like what kneecapped him a bit, where he's not quite as the Loki that the intimidating Loki who damn near took over the earth.
Well, he may come back. He may get.
Well, that character developed quite a bit more than just the guy that tried to take over Earth.
Yeah, but they did it all in a single scene in season 1. That
they're limited. They're limited by him being.
It's like how Boba Fett developed.
I'm just saying, I like that's the version that I like more. And I'm entitled to prefer one version of a character over another, and that
you have to like
better
this version.
It's Red Smut now.
You have to like this version.
It's just like Boba Fett evolved. He was a gangster, but then he cared about.
Here's another one. It's better than Book of Boba Fett.
No, but I was about to say Loki's development in this show is much better than Boba Fett's development.
Oh, for sure. I'm funning.
That was
Andrew.
What
did you think?
I never thought we'd be comparing Loki to Boba Fett.
I didn't know we would get there either. Roth, what were you going to say? Sorry, buddy.
No, you're fine. I was going to let Andrew go. I just want to talk about one of the creepiest stinking actresses out there, Kate Dickie. Lysa Arryn from Game of Thrones. She I don't know if it's that Lysa Arryn character of breastfeeding a 8-year-old child in Game of Thrones that's ruined her forever.
11-year-old.
But she's just as creepy in this, and the little look that she gives that TVA agent, and they kind of press their heads together. I'm like, she's doing it again. She's creeping me out. If this wasn't on Disney Plus, he'd probably be doing that.
I mean, but so's the other actress also. I mean, both the actresses in that scene.
She's got a disease, though.
The lady was. They're the two funniest looking people I've seen on TV in ages.
That judge.
That other lady's been around. Yeah,
she's got a real disability.
I thought Rhett was going to bring that up.
Because I rewatched the episode this afternoon and I looked it up and I was like, I'm not going to bring that up. And
wait,
somebody else does.
Andor's mom?
No,
not Andor's mom. Not Andor's mom. The other guy's mom.
No, but it's not that lady. No,
it's not.
No.
This lady's like a comedian, and
I've seen her.
I think she's in Harry Potter.
I've
she's
seen
in
her.
Good Omens. She was in The Witcher.
The Witcher. That's where.
That's maybe.
Look, I'm sure she plays funny looking little characters.
And she's an Infinite. That terrible.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Infinite was.
I'm glad she's.
Mark Wahlberg.
It's like that Willow guy, right? I mean, you take the roles that you're suited for. I mean, that's great.
I will say I did do a little bit of research on Liz Carr because she's a stand-up comedian too, and makes fun of the way she looks all the time.
Good, no, it's great. I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, she's an unusual looking person. However,
her name is Liz Carr.
She looks like a David Lynch character.
My Lord, I didn't see that.
Like Twin Peaks. Yeah.
And I mean, Rifen's up here I just kept wanting her to say, "Hey, you guys," and I'm like, "It's not grotesque, you weirdos."
No, you can't do. Guys,
okay, so I thought the war room scene was interesting. And
that was strange.
I liked the guy that was sleeping the whole time.
It was so random.
I liked the kind of viewpoints we were getting throughout. The crippled woman saying I could do anything when she realizes that she kind of has free will now. You got General Dox, which is that short for Paradox? You think? Because all these people have names like
that. Nobody's thinking that far.
Judge Gamble is Liz Carr's character.
She says, the timekeepers are fake, but their warnings were real, so they're still bought into the the whole dogma of the TVA.
But the other one's not. The other one's on their side, right?
X5 is kind of he seems kind of wish-washy. Doesn't really. He just kind of takes orders.
No, I'm sorry. I meant the other judge. The Liz Carr lady.
Yeah, she
said
she says to stop pruning.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Effective immediately.
That was like a Trump move there, where you make the guy out in the audience.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Holy smokes!
No, she says effective immediately. They're going to stop pruning timeline.
They're going to stop pruning,
and then Loki comes in immediately. Loki time slips in immediately after that point. But I've seen this episode 3 times, so like I know this.
Jarring every time he comes in. That's really
I love that. I love that horror aspect of
great. It's a real body horror element.
Semi-convenient time slipping as well, though. I will say.
Yeah, I mean it was.
Well, that's. I'm fine with that. I'm actually
for sure. I'm totally fine with it.
Almost random too, where it's like just happening at these weird intervals that are more convenient for the story.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love the interaction that he had with Short Round, where Short Round began to remember.
Wait a minute, I do.
Delivering the information.
There was some good stuff. There was
that was some great scenes.
That was like great stuff. And Short Round, Short Round, the best part of the show for me. I mean, just a great addition.
Yeah, Obi, he was good. That's a good character.
Kihei Kwan was good.
They definitely wrote to his strengths. I mean, it was good.
He's doing this like fantastic socially maladjusted, deadpan delivery for like everything,
like it distant, like he's unconnected to whether your skin, whether you have your skin removed or not. Like
he's just trying to get you. He's just trying to get you the facts.
Right. Yeah.
No opinion.
I love how he threw that guidebook. Like he says, "I've written this guidebook," and he's like,
he's the Ben Shapiro of the TVA.
Pretty much.
Just talking really fast. Yeah.
You mean the guidebook that is a detailed index of every mechanical classification and maintenance routine in each sector on each device and inside every computer program in the TVA?
That's correct. Do you have a copy?
Yes, that one. Yes, that's exactly.
Hold it up, Garrison.
He's the Garrison of the TVA.
Oh, you mean this thing that I actually wrote notes, 4 pages worth of notes for this show?
I thought you were about to say that you wrote the guidebook yourself. You actually wrote it, the whole thing. He's got a replica.
Do you have a facsimile of the guidebook?
Yeah.
Owen Wilson was really good too.
Oh, Owen Wilson was great. Just their interaction.
The
writing was great. Owen Wilson was really solid.
For me, Hiddleston and Wilson picked up where they left off.
At
the end of season 1.
Yeah, that's the heart of this show. I know people get into the. I mean, Garrison, you like the
Sylvie relationship.
You like the story elements, the plotting, and some of that. And this is one of those rare cases where I'm a little bit less interested in all of that, but I really enjoy the character interactions. I think the dialogue is pretty strong on here, and the characterizations are strong. And I'm enjoying that part of it more than I am the story. I've kind of checked out a bit on the whole MCU broad story because I think
that's fair. I mean,
it's been kind of circling the drain for a while now, and so I have less interest in that. But it is a delight to watch them on screen together. I like
the interactions between Obi, Mobius, and Loki, and you talked about this a little bit, but when they're in the future, when they're in the present and in the past at the same time, but just the interactions between all 3 of them together,
very well done.
Obi remembers Mobius. Mobius does not because his mind's been wiped.
Yep.
That's an important plotting point. Obi's mind was never wiped, which I think is really fascinating. Probably because he's isolated, but is there something more to that?
They may have forgotten he was there, and
Brian, I was
like, I followed, like they were bouncing through timelines, and I followed it. It was very well edited. It was very well scripted and very well performed, and those were all high points for me.
And the set design, like Brian, the aesthetic of like how the TVA looks, they kind of picked right up with. I love like the old
Yeah.
Pepsi machine when
Yeah.
they're in the
Yes.
in the past. There's that super
Yeah.
old Pepsi machine in the background.
Like
I mean,
you
stuff
pulled
like
up.
that.
It's
It
clever.
lets you know that who's making the show cares about that stuff.
Mhm.
And sometimes that just doesn't happen on Disney Plus shows where they pay close attention to details, and
there's
Loki
been
does a good job with that.
Yeah, there's been a consistency of production design, which is good. There's nothing
Mhm.
anything that looks different and jarring, like the time loom, the temporal loom, like
Mhm.
that's a jarring aesthetic because
Yeah.
it's very different than everything. Yeah, that's good. It
Mhm.
works in that context. Great. It's like it's this distant, ephemeral, overpowering thing where everything else is mundane and routine and like like clockwork. And I
I
like
loved the pan to the door. That whole sequence when the light breaks over them and then the pan to the
yeah.
door.
Oh yeah,
It's
that was
totally
a good,
different
that was
looking
good.
thing from the rest of the
Yeah.
facility, like you're saying.
Oh,
And
that's
then the
good.
bright light when it opens up.
Yeah.
And another
Yeah.
thing they did a couple of times in season 1 is there was a really long take through the hallway. It's a walk and talk, but
Mhm.
there's a lot going on around them. And it was a good
Mhm.
long take, and that's something that anytime I see it, like it feels good to me, and I give them an extra point for it.
It felt more populated too. Maybe with
Yeah,
COVID
a lot of
restrictions
extras.
gone, it just everything felt more populated with people in the halls, which I liked.
agree.
And
Yep.
And I felt like there was like I wasn't sure if Morbius was going to make it out of this.
Well-
there was like real peril for me. I was like, oh, what's going to happen here? You know.
If you remember season 1
Wait,
of Loki,
Morbius was in this season? I missed that.
Mobius.
I would have freaking give that a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 if Morbius is in it.
It's Morbid time.
Morbid time when he says,
Sorry, Mobius. I'm sorry.
I made the mistake earlier too.
Earl, you made that point earlier, just a second ago. If you remember in season 1, there's that whole line he has to get into with the ticket.
Yeah.
And it's totally barren. It's nobody's there
Right.
except this one other guy.
Right.
Grab the ticket and he gets pruned. That was supposed to be full of aliens and all these different type of creatures.
Okay.
But then COVID happened, and that's exactly what happened. Is they just went, okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll just do this, and it's a little bit funnier. But yeah, I do love that there are people.
Mhm.
It feels
Well,
alive.
They
Yeah.
saved, and look, by them doing that during COVID, they saved tens of thousands of
I
lives.
love it. I love it. Thank
Bring
you.
that down to just that one.
Thank you, Hollywood, for
Yeah.
protecting our actors.
Yes, thank you, Hollywood.
And our extras.
Andrew, jump in here, buddy. Any
Mhm.
thoughts on this first episode?
I really loved this episode. I thought it did a good job of jumping right back into where we left off. It's
Yeah.
only hours maybe
Yeah,
difference
yeah,
in the show.
that's right.
One thing I noticed, I don't know how obvious this was, but the tape or show that or podcast that Casey was listening to was the same one that Stephen Grant listened to in Moon Knight. And
I didn't even notice that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I don't even know what you're
That's a
talking
scoop.
about.
Put that down.
I didn't
That's
even
a
know we
scoop,
could
Mikey.
see what Casey was listening to. That's kind of cool.
Oh, if you have subtitles on, you could
Really?
read. Yeah, you could read what was
So
being
it was the
said.
same
and-
podcast.
I
as
think I'm
Stephen
have to
Grant.
watch it a fourth time up there.
man.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then the audio description will even go further. So really, Ryfin, you've got to watch this at least 5 times.
Guys, you don't know how tempted I am to do that.
I don't remember Moon Knight listening to a podcast.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
at the
Well,
beginning,
it
right?
was-
Yeah,
yeah,
at
it was,
the
actually- it was more
He's
like
listening
a
to
tape.
stuff to go to sleep, isn't he? And to not go to sleep. Sorry,
To not go to sleep.
I'm not going to sleep. Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know if we're supposed
I
to
never
like.
would have thought about Moon Knight ever again.
well,
Right now.
here's your connection. He talked about they directed Benson and Moorhead. Did they direct season 1? No, they directed season 1 of Moon Knight. Half of the
I
episodes.
knew that they were involved in something.
and their half of the
We could
episodes
see
were
Moon
probably
Knight
some of the
in
best
season
directed
2.
stuff. But
Oh yeah, Moon Knight could show up in
Yeah.
season 2 of Loki.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
That would
And
be interesting.
Why?
The nice
Or
thing
mine.
about these release dates is I get to go from watching Shin for 8 weeks to watching Sylvie for 6 weeks. So I just-
Oh,
that's
Andrew.
good.
Okay. All right. He's got some crushes here.
Heyo!
Sylvie's, I
A
don't
little bit
know.
downgrade, but yeah,
Yeah.
A little bit of a downgrade.
that's awful. Who cares?
Who cares?
no, but
Yeah.
I thought that the
Well, she's better than
well,
that
and
that funny looking lady. But
Stop it.
which one?
But either.
you're gonna live with me now. Huh? No,
I did
but
like the sign on the temporal loom door at the bottom of it where it said like likelihood of spaghettification increases 7,000%.
Right.
Spaghettification has
saw-
always been one of my favorite science
Oh
words.
yeah, that's depicted right here. Your
It's so
spaghettification.
absurd to
see it.
hear real.
Is that a real?
Physics? Yeah, it's a real thing. When you approach a black hole, the effect on your body is called spaghettification because the gravity increases so much in such a small distance that
Just watch Interstellar.
Your toe will be stretched infinitely thin like spaghetti before the rest of your body. So it's
Oh wow.
I liked the
real term. Yeah.
I liked the line delivery from OV where he's talking about the black hole stuff, and then
Right.
Loki, he says
OB,
whatever,
right.
and he's like, "The less you know about that, the better." Then OB like looks down to the corner. It's I don't know.
Right. He's witnessed it happening. It sounds like.
Yeah, Key is selling that role really well.
Oh my gosh, he's so
He
good
is.
in that.
The small amount that they're he's doing great with it. I mean, and that's what you want from your like co-stars or your one-offs. I mean, I don't know how much more he's going to be in the series.
I think he'll be in. I don't think it's
hopefully
every
a lot.
episode, but I think he'll be in it.
Well,
he's a good character. I mean, we've only got 6 episodes, or is this only 4, or what is this?
It's 6
episodes.
So the questions are: who was calling Loki on the phone?
All right,
Right.
Earl. Yeah, your big questions. Yeah.
That's
And
the
then
big question.
who pruned him?
Sylvie.
Who pruned him?
I'm saying Mephisto.
No, he's in Daredevil.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Earl.
No,
who
not
pruned
Daredevil.
him?
He's in the other series.
The big question.
Iron, the Iron, Girl.
Iron Chick. Yeah.
Iron Girl.
Yeah, I've got 4 questions. Who pruned him?
Echo.
Okay.
Why is Sylvie in the elevator?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Who is she speaking to? Because I don't think she's speaking to him.
No, I don't think so either.
And why is the phone ringing? Yeah, that's my 4 questions.
And I think it's all going to be a time loop.
Which, by the way, again,
Scenario.
why I like the time slipping narrative device, because it presents us those mysterious questions that will be paid off later on. But I feel like you could do that throughout the season. You could keep that going as like
Well,
a thing.
I think this whole thing is going to be a time sort of, maybe. I don't know.
And it could we even see that it's
and
kind
why
of.
is she in a McDonald's and where were that? Bruxton.
Why does she want to stay
Broxton.
so badly?
Broxton,
She just wants to hang
Oklahoma,
out.
which is where in the comics
She orders about what I order from there.
Thor set up
Thor's
New Asgard very near Broxton.
in Broxton, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
and
think
she's
I
Asgardian.
think we're going to get
or whatever,
Thor.
yeah.
I think we get an appearance from Thor late in this season, maybe.
Well,
I don't hate that.
And
So-
Zeb.
Zeb.
We had an appearance from Frog Thor in the first season, and there's even there's a deleted scene that has more of him attacking
Thor.
Loki.
Well, I think we get the standard, the prime timeline Thor at some point. I think part of what
Really?
I think, because you have Loki. I think it's important that you reconnect those characters
I
at
see.
some
I
point.
see.
Maybe they don't in this season, but I think
Make a bet with them, Mike.
if we're going to make a bet, then I think we will see Thor in this season.
The producers of the show said the end game is getting them back together, but they didn't say that was the show. They were just saying the end game for Loki was to get him back to Thor at some point.
Man, and if they play that scene right, that could be like one of the best scenes in the MCU. If they do, and those two
especially how
actors
things
could
are
pull
going
that
right
off.
now. Yeah, it could be great.
They could use that. I
Well,
think they need it sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Right.
So
And
I
apparently,
think
I mean, that there is interest to do a 5th Thor movie. So, I mean,
I could see that.
Taika said he does want to come back, which we don't know.
I don't think Chris Hemsworth wants Taika to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
that'd be like he's saying, "Oh, I'm willing to direct a Thor 5." Nobody's going to ask you, bro.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, right.
I hope it is, because I hope Taika goes back to creating original projects.
Right. He's better
Yeah,
at
he's
much
better
better
at
at
that
that.
stuff.
Better at-
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to see his
Goal
little soccer movie.
Are
Yeah.
better suited to him. Look, Ragnarok was okay. He brought
I
that
like
character
Ragnarok
back
still.
in. Yeah.
But Jojo Rabbit was brilliant. I mean, that was
Jojo
a
Rabbit was
great
so
movie.
good.
He needs to stay there.
That's my favorite of his.
Yeah,
Yes.
What we do in the shadows, but yeah.
I love what we do in the shadows too. Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
That's good.
what'd you have, Andrew?
A question I don't remember if this has already came up, but question I have is, who recorded Kang or He Who Remains talking. You know, the tape at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, because he was
talking to
addressing
Renslayer.
someone.
Victor
Yeah.
Timely. When do we get Victor Timely?
So he
So,
was addressing
yeah,
he was
Oh, he was
Renslayer.
addressing Renslayer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
In the
yeah.
Because
judge's
who was
room.
recording that?
Renslayer's
I think
voice was
that's the
also.
standard recording. That's
In
I
the-
don't know if that's a mystery or if that's
It's
just
a
standard.
Richard Nixon type of situation where he's always recording.
In
Pentagon
the
Papers.
yeah,
And then something else I learned
I am not a
today
king.
Crap.
is that
not a king.
Crap.
Sorry, Andrew.
Sorry,
no, it's
Andrew.
okay. And y'all might have seen this, but
That's an
Loki
old
season
man
2
joke.
had a budget of $141 million with no reshoots. Secret Invasion cost
Ooh,
no
$212 million with 4 months of additional reshoots. So that shows that more money
Such
doesn't always mean better quality.
Correct.
Oh well, yeah, we
You
know
are
that.
correct,
I mean,
sir.
That's,
freaking-
yeah, nailed it.
the Indiana Jones was 300 million, and there was only certain things to like about that movie.
Right. Where and then Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning was about the same amount of money, and all the money was on the screen. Like
Yeah.
I
Right.
came out of that thing like
And-
that was they spent that was well spent. money.
and a
Such
bunch of
great-
that Mission Impossible budget was paying the guys while they weren't even working. So
So that
I
was just
mean,
COVID. So much of that was COVID
Uh-oh.
money.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Kristen's gonna go on a my 7 talk.
I mean, I'd love to. Hey,
Give me
and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 now on digital, and coming
That's
to
right,
Blu-ray
as of
October
today.
31st. So
That's right.
Such a
right,
great
yeah.
movie.
But hey, I
Could've been
did my
seen by
Prime
more
Day
people.
deal. My Prime Day deal was MI 1 through 6 4K.
I
They were
didn't do that on
it
Prime
was
Day.
down
I-
to 8. It was down to $8 per movie, basically.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like,
Wow.
oh, yeah, I'm getting.
I was so
4K?
desperate I went to buy it at Walmart before Dead Reckoning.
Oh,
Part
really?
1 came
I
out. Yeah.
see. That's the one I was watching because they usually with the Prime Day stuff they do box sets cheap. So I was
Yeah.
watching that price
What-
drop. So
What killed me is I had them on Blu-ray, but I wanted them on 4K. I
Well,
had
yeah, I mean,
I
why
bought the
not?
same exact box set 4K that I already had on Blu-ray.
So Rhett,
Yeah,
I pirated Secret Invasion and Moon Knight on Blu-ray, and I have them shipping to your
You're not
house.
supposed
Just,
to
Oh, my
say-
God.
allegedly. He's saying that
He
allegedly.
said it's going to Rhett's house.
He thought
Not his
about
house.
doing that, and then
Yeah.
he time
I will,
skipped, and it was.
Yeah, I will treat them with the
One
reverence they
second.
deserve.
Oh God!
Yeah,
Oh, here
Garrison's gonna go
now
get his
Garrison's gonna
actual
show.
pirated copies.
Yeah, so he's got to show. Look what you've
Well,
done,
Garrison
Andrew. Now he's
scales
going to
the-
I've done a
continue to
lot- I've done a lot tonight.
incriminate himself.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
parody law. This is all just parody.
Yeah,
It's
he-
all
I've done a lot
parody.
tonight.
What did
This
you
episode,
get, Garrison?
he
Show
sails
us.
the high
Oh,
seas,
I
if
was
you
just
know
so
what I mean.
thankful, Andrew, that you sent me all these great discs.
Oh, look at
I
that.
really enjoyed Moon Knight. I was watching it the other night.
Moon Knight is good.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
that,
might make me go to jail. Actually,
that Secret Invasion is not worth the aluminum used on the disc.
Well, you see, yeah, I've been contemplating that.
All right. Well, we have gone way longer than I wanted to go. I've got some stuff I've got to do tonight, guys. Sorry. Did
okay.
anybody have any final thoughts about?
We got nothing to do.
episode
We got
one?
nothing to do. He wants to watch a
Yes,
movie.
I do. I've got. Anyways,
He's got
I've got
a
some Mike Tober stuff.
Guys,
I've got
I've watched
Mike
Mike
Tober.
Tober.
Hey,
I've
have
got
you got
Mike
my
Tober.
Mike
I've got
Tober
to
yet?
focus on. I know you're giving me yours in a couple weeks.
All right. Okay. You're
I
not
haven't
gonna
got
watch
you. I've
it
got some that I've got some
Mine has
pre
been
Mike
submitted.
Tobers that I'm. Yeah, I've got some pre ones that I'm working on because if I
Okay.
don't have enough time, I've got to have more time.
All right.
Time
I'll give it to
skipping.
you.
Now, do you know what I've sent or
I do. Yeah, I had to listen to those because I needed to start watching
I
those.
recorded that at 7 a.m. It was just like, that's it. I'm done.
Many years
No,
ago,
no, it worked. No,
in the early days of the Deucecast podcast, Michael lost some contest or bet with me or something, and I got to pick a movie for him to watch, and I picked From Justin to Kelly, the American Idol movie with
I still
Kelly
haven't watched
Clarkson
it.
and Justin
That's a horror
Guarini,
movie.
and he never watched it to this
I
day.
never watched
He
it. I
never-
never
He
watched
never
it.
fulfilled his obligation.
Maybe I'll change that, Rhett. Maybe I'll change that.
Oh,
Was
for
this an
God's-
Oscar?
If you'll vote
thing?
for me, and I'll watch that movie. Just vote for me and I'll watch that movie. No, let's go around the horn here. Garrison, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at griffin3 on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. What an interesting site. Same on Instagram. You can follow me on Letterboxd at GRyfun, GRYFUN. Where I've been watching some movies lately. I watched some stuff this weekend. I watched a bunch of Hitchcock. I was enjoying Hitchcock.
Okay.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
and
I like it.
guys, I sat down to watch Loki this weekend, Thursday, whatever it was.
Thursday.
I haven't been that exhilarated with the Disney Plus show in so long.
And I know I kind of felt the same way. I was looking forward
we feel
to
you,
watching-
brother. We feel you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that endorsement.
Hope it met your expectations.
Oh, it exceeded them, right?
Roth, where can people find you on the interwebs? And what is next for a Good Day for a Movie podcast?
Yep. Roth from Wyoming, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, trying to watch movies. I don't know. I'm in a slump right now for watching movies.
I feel you. I was in one. Yeah, I was too.
Good Day for a Movie podcast is the podcast. Me, Myself, and Irene was the last episode. We talked about that on the top, which seems like it was 3 hours ago. The next movie, though, is The Proposal. I know.
Sandy Bullock.
Very
Ryan-
random. Sage picked The Proposal.
Is that
Sage
Ryan
is an
Reynolds?
enigma wrapped in an enigma,
mystery.
wrapped in a
Mystery.
Yeah, Sage is an interesting fella.
Yeah.
I did not like his
He
opinion.
plays Oppenheimer music when he goes to make a decision. You know.
I know that's another
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds as Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
movie.
I like The
Right.
Proposal. I'm excited to watch it again. I
I do
haven't
too.
seen it
I've
in
only
like
ever
10
seen
years.
the poster for The Proposal.
I don't think I've ever seen the
always
actual movie.
I've liked Sandra Bullock really since the beginning. I think
Yeah.
I've
Some
always
good Betty
enjoyed-
White
Oh, I'm
stuff
sure
in
it's
there.
great.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure it's
I've
great.
always enjoyed Bullock's work. Back to the Demolition Man days.
Yeah.
The Blind Side
so
days. Yeah.
that's coming up next. I guess we did the Green Mile, but it feels like we've done some silly movies. I think my next pick is going to be something really serious.
Mm.
You should do
I don't know what it is yet, but
A
it
Hidden
might be
Life.
like
Hidden
like the
Life.
Malik realm. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
go with
man.
Hidden Life, man.
Oh, here we
I
go
don't-
with the Malik.
I love A Hidden
Here we
Life.
go.
That
Yeah.
movie is brilliant.
It is good.
It'd be interesting to see how you guys react to it.
What's the one? Is that the one about the German?
Yeah,
Yes.
Franz
Yeah.
Jägerstätter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned it in the Discord that had a priest and a
Yeah.
homily talk about that movie.
I'm telling you what, it's going to hit your Catholic sweet spot.
I don't know that I could have done what that guy did.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
no, exactly.
Well, let's not
Exactly.
talk about
that's coming in the future as well.
We'll see what happens. Andrew, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me Andrew Haley 2319 pretty much anywhere. Keep it easy.
Okay.
You can find me in Discord pretty much every day,
Of course.
causing an
course.
outrage. You know, and but and real quick, I thought this episode of Loki was a good 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, he's giving some scores here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Son,
Well,
I want you to.
8.5's pretty high. We probably should bring that down. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I don't think
6.5.
Shawshank
6, I'll bring it down to 6.5.
No, don't do that.
Maybe
bud.
6.5.
No, I'm just kidding. 8. I'll
Rhett,
bring it down to 8.
okay.
Andrew,
First,
Andrew.
Earl is off the grid.
Well, don't I get
except
to
the
talk?
Discord.
Let poor Earl hawk his wares.
Yeah, I've seen some great things.
Final thought. Yeah.
I've seen The Square. I've seen House recently. All these great movies. Okay, my final thought of the show. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was back to the joy that I had with the original.
Mhm.
I need to tell my son Andrew to go do his homework after this. We're done with this.
Andrew, are you in high school still?
Yes, I am. Senior year.
Oh
Okay.
God.
That was a
Wow.
Oh, senior year. Okay, so you
That
need to
is
start.
great.
We need to start going around to colleges then. Andrew.
I remember when I was a senior.
Freshman.
Do you want to do so? Listen, if you want to make quick cash, become a plumber or an electrician
Yes,
go to
or
a
a
trade
welder.
Hey,
or a
Stay out
welder.
of these hippie conclaves, these dirty bohemian communes that pass as universities these days.
If you want
Stay out of
to
that.
go
If
to
you wanna learn- if
school
you wanna learn
past
to
high school,
protest.
go to go get your theology degree or something.
Oh my God. That'll come in
If not,
handy.
just go be a welder. You'll have a much more
yeah,
fulfilling
go
life.
learn a trade.
Mhm.
Get out there in the workforce, start making a difference. Don't just
we
be
act
over-
like We act like Andrew's an orphan and has no parents to.
Yes,
Look, if
please
he's on
don't-
here with us,
Yeah.
Oh, look at Sean,
Where are his
Oh, look,
parents
no,
now,
Sean,
Michael?
look.
cybersecurity engineer.
No.
There you go.
This is
It's
actually
11 o'clock.
right.
Do you
This
know where your
is-
kids
This is
are?
the correct. This is the correct.
Yeah.
This is the
Yes.
correct answer.
He did a rating just
Cybersecurity
under
engineer.
mine.
There you go.
Yeah, Sean can buy and sell
Oh
every
yeah,
word.
he 8.49.
I am for sale.
Pretty much.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Want
okay.
us
I've
to
always
go
said-
fund me?
What have you been saying, Garrison?
I don't know. That was Mike.
Garrison,
You
have you
said
been
I've always
saying
said,
things?
but my computer totally froze. So
Oh,
We didn't even know.
Oh,
Well,
I
we
didn't
missed
realize
all of your
Brian
comments.
asked me
there's a
if
really interesting.
this will lead into the next phase of movies. I would say sure. I mean, with Kang, yeah.
Yes, more Quantum Mania, too.
Well, hey, okay.
Yeah,
More-
okay. Now you're being silly.
more MODOK.
that's binary.
Yes.
That's
Zero
what
zero
Secret
zero
Kid
zero
talked
zero 001.
I'm sure that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhett, can people find you anywhere on the internet?
You know what? All I do, I doom scroll on X quite a bit, trying to soak up the news of the world. Pro tip: try not to pay any attention to the news of the world. It's horrible.
It's very bad,
You,
especially
you
right
seen
now.
some beheadings recently, or
Yeah, I have seen more than
Oh.
I'd like.
Oh,
Dang, dude.
stop.
Not sure if
Yes.
yeah, no footage of that
Ugh.
quite yet, but yeah, I saw.
Let's
Yeah, I've
keep
seen
it light.
0
That's
out of
right.
10.
there are
Zero
things in the world that are,
out of 10.
that I do not. Yeah. 0 of 10. Do not recommend. Anything.
not
coming out
X
of
is
the
a
world.
brutal place if you don't like to see it, or not. Obviously, nobody likes to see it, but it's a very
Right, well, but
shocking place right now.
It's not
Nobody
even
likes to see
the
it.
worst thing about that right now are people.
Mhm.
Yes.
The people and
The
their
Mia
reaction
Khalifas of the world.
and they're equivocating and they're but alsoing and
let's take this off.
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
all
we probably
good.
should take this. I am at the Michael Nip on X and at the Deucecast on X. Deucecord. That's where all the cool people hang out. If
600.
you are watching this show and are interested in the Deucecord, DM and we'll let you know all about it. Big episode finally being released of the Deucecast movie show tomorrow morning, God willing. Episode 600. Look, I mean, I guess it's something to be proud of. Not many shows make it to 600.
Big time.
And so we're excited to be finally releasing the episode. It took a while
Look,
to
Not
get
many
released,
podcasts
but
get
it
to
is an
episode 10.
epic.
Yeah.
hmm
That's true.
You're like
True.
the days
A lot of
our
pod
lives.
fading out there. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. All right. We will see you guys next week for episode 2 of Loki season 2. It has been a blast. Thanks so much to the chat. Brian, Sean coming up there at the end.
Coming in
Some
strong.
guy named Earl was in the chat. You had
So weird, Andrew
some
was
guy
on the
named
chat at the
Andrew in
beginning.
the chat for a little bit. Some guy named Jacob in the chat. Yeah, exactly. So appreciate it, everybody, and we will see you next week.